Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. It is time that you got some, my love. And that is what we're gonna touch on today. We live in a day and age where we're trying to normalize everything. Normalize this, normalize that, normalize. Like, that's all you see online. People are trying to normalize some kind of nonsense, or sometimes it is things that honestly should be normalized, but sometimes it's like, okay, let's calm down with the normalizing. One thing that I do think we need to normalize is standing up for ourselves when people are testing you. You know that song that's like, you get one time with me, the second time the boot. Girl, we don't got no second time. The first time was enough, and you should have learned from that. Let me break it down to you. Okay, before we get started, let's touch on the topic of forgiveness. So, me personally, I haven't always been a forgiving person. It's always been a little harder for me to let things go. Like, if someone does something to me, I hold it on. Like, I hold on to it for much longer than I should. I'm getting older, so I'm getting better at it, and I've worked at it, right? And I truly believe that everybody should be forgiving. You know, you're not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect person. I will F up. You will F up. And we need to allow people grace the same way that we would want grace when we F up, right? But I think there's a difference between forgiveness and simply allowing yourself to be walked over and run through the mud and dragged through the streets on the back of a horse in the name of forgiveness, in the name of moving on, in the name of being the bigger person. Yeah, that's not always, I don't believe that you should always be the bigger person in certain scenarios. I think sometimes you need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and walk your ass out of there. Okay, let me give you some examples. Well, first, for me, I would never tolerate, if I'm in a relationship, if you cheat on me even the slightest, I am out the door. If you disrespect me in any way that I think will and can lead to future disrespect, I'm out of there. If you hit me in any way, I'm out of there. If, I don't know, we're friends, me and my girls, we're friends. If I find out that you are dragging my name through the streets to everybody, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? If I find out that you don't have my best interest in mind, I'm out. So I will not deal with people who I think do not want the best for me, because you are only going to drag me down. Hello, quick intermission. For you guys who don't know me, my name is Dar. This is the Darline Nation. In this nation, we're all about self-love, self-care. And my goal for this nation is, if I can help one person, two person, three persons better themselves in any way, I want to do so. And I want you guys to subscribe, because it's been proven that people who subscribe to my nation are smarter, funnier, sexier, kitty stays moist, pocket stays thick, love life stays loving. You know what I'm saying? So if you want a better life, subscribe to this channel, please. Okay, let me get a little more comfortable, child. I'm gonna get a little comfortable. I've seen so many scenarios where, especially online, right, where the woman will be going through something with a man, right? She forgives him, and down the road, it turns into something worse. He ends up beating her senseless. He ends up setting her on fire. Like, I've seen these things. And that's why I think boundaries are so important. If you do not have a threshold where you will say, I'm out, I need to get the hell out of here, you will fall for anything. You will let anybody and anything do anything to you, because you will forgive them, and you'll be like, oh, I'm a forgiving person. I have an open heart. I wanted to give them another chance. And they will continue to prove you wrong every time. Again, I'm not saying be like a cynical person that, doesn't give people second chances, or, isn't open, with themselves. Because if you want people to be open with you, you have to be open with them. That is where boundaries come from. If somebody crosses your boundary the first time, chances are they will cross it again, especially if you've made it very, very clear that this is not something that you will tolerate. For example, if a man cheats on you, right? Well, let's back up a little. Say you get into a relationship with a man and you tell him up front, I'm scared of my man cheating on me. I do not want my man cheating on me. I will not tolerate my man cheating on me. And you find out, whoops, he cheated on you. He did it. He's guilty. And instead of putting your foot down and confirming those boundaries that you had set up in the beginning and leaving, you forgive him, you move on, oh, I know he's gonna change. He's a good man. He's a good man, Savannah. He's gonna change. That man is going to prove you wrong again. He is going to test your boundary in another way. Because why? Because you didn't stand on business. You let that man know that you can be fucked with. And he gonna fuck with you over and over again. And he's gonna, it's like a child, You know how children will test your boundaries? They'll do little things here and there to see what they can get away with. They'll, test your patience. And if you let it go time and time again, guess what? They're gonna push again and again and again. People are like that. They will test your boundaries. And if your response to that is forgiveness, let's move on, I forgive you, let's work on ourselves, let's work on our relationship, my dear, you are in for a hard life. You are. You really freaking are. If you are this person that has always struggled in your life with setting boundaries, with being able to, I guess, put people in their place and walk out of situations that do not serve you, and you're wondering, well, how can I do it? I've tried to do it. I can't do it. I always go back, I think your number one answer is you have to love yourself more. And that sounds so simple, right? It's like, okay, well, I love myself. No, but if you loved yourself more than that person, if you loved yourself more than that situation, you would never put yourself in a situation to get hurt like that again, If you had the kind of love that would carry you through every situation, every scenario, every hurt for yourself, that love for yourself, your number one thought when situations like that arise would be me. I need to put myself first. I gotta put myself first, Lucius. I gotta put myself, that needs to be you. And when you have that love for yourself, when you're able to say, I come first, those boundaries will honestly fall into place by themselves. Because when you love yourself, just like when you love other people, right? When you love other people, you respect them. You want the best for them. You are their cheerleader, you know what I'm saying? So if you have that same love for yourself, where you respect yourself, you are your own cheerleader, you are your own advocate, you never allow other people or yourself to hurt you, my dear, those boundaries will just boom, 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 boom. You just won't. I remember there was a situation, like I said, I've always been like this, where when I was younger especially, I didn't have a very forgiving heart, which, again, I'm not saying to do that. Please have a forgiving heart. Just have a forgiving heart with boundaries. I remember when I was a teenager, I had this friend, and I considered them at the time to be my best friend, right? Like, we talked all the time. We were really close, as best friends would be. And I, at the time, loved that person as a best friend, And then they did something to me. I'm not going to go into details, but they did something to me that honestly hurt me to my core, because I'm not a person that lets a lot of people into my life, especially that deeply, because again, I'm not a very trusting person. So the fact that I allowed that person to enter my heart that way, and for them to hurt me that deeply, from that moment on, I never spoke to them again. And in the years to come, they would hit me up, here and there. They try to rekindle the friendship, or be like, can we talk again? Can we be friends again? And my answer was always no. And I told them, I was like, I don't have any bad blood towards you. I forgive you for whatever, that situation was, but I would rather not, because you already showed me the kind of person that you are, and I'm not going to put myself in a situation to go through that again, and why would I put myself back in that situation? Like, I already gave you my heart, I thought at the time, and you treated it like shit. So why the hell am I gonna give you another chance to do that to me? And that's why I said, like, you can be open, you can be very forgiving, you can love with an open heart, but there has to be boundaries to your love. There has to be boundaries to that open heart, because once people do you wrong the first time, the chances of them doing you wrong in a major way are likely. Yes, they are very likely. If you choose to keep that person in your life, I know it's hard. I know it's harder said than done. So if you choose to keep a person that hurt you in your life, I would say sleep with one eye open, right? A little bit, but also be very mindful. Be mindful of them. Be mindful of the fact that they did hurt you already, and honestly, I don't even know how to give advice on that, because I wouldn't do it. Like, if somebody hurt me the first time, they wouldn't be in my life. So I don't know how to give advice to somebody who would keep somebody like that in their life. I don't know. The only thing I would say is sleep with one eye open. Just keep a lookout. But why would you want to live like that? Why would you want to be friends or, partners with somebody that you have to side eye every now and then? Because, like, that just doesn't make sense to me. So my answer is always, you're good off. So yeah, guys, boundaries. Know your boundaries. Know what you will and won't accept. Like I said, it comes very easy once you have that love for yourself that exceeds the love that you have for, a person or a situation. I think, honestly, you shouldn't ever love anybody more than you love yourself. Except, your children. That's a different scenario, right? Because they're your children. That's different. But if it's like a partner, a best friend, whatever the case may be, you should always honestly come first in every situation. Self-preservation, babe. And if you are going to be a forgiving person, that's fine. But like I said, remember what your boundaries are. If they hurt you in the first place, you're gonna have to go into that relationship with kind of a closed heart. And to me, that's sad. So I just would rather not put myself in that situation, because I'm gonna be looking at you sideways for the rest of my life. So I don't see the benefit in that. But yeah, boundaries. Say it to yourself. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. They are so freaking important. They are so freaking needed. If you don't have boundaries, you know that quote that's like, what's that quote? It's like, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for everything. Oh! Write that down. If you stand for nothing, you will fall for everything. And that goes the same in relationships, in friendships, in situationships. If you don't stand up for yourself, you will fall every single time. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I love you guys so, so much. I hope that one of you, two of you, some of you got something from this message, and that if you're in a situation like that, you're able to look at it objectively and love yourself and be there for yourself. And it sounds bad to say, but put yourself first, because sometimes it's needed. And boundaries. Oh, and subscribe. Thank you. Love you. Mwah.